Hello and welcome to today's video. So this video is my December wrap up. I read 11 books in total in December, which I'm really quite happy with, but I've only actually got about like 5 things to talk about because a lot of those books were a part of series, so I'm not going to go into like detail of each book basically if it's all one series. So yeah, 11 books in total and we will go through them all now. So first book that I read this month was Stranger Things Suspicious Minds by Gwenda Bond. This was a really good book. I didn't go into it expecting a lot, to be honest. I very much picked it up because I saw it in a charity shop for £1.95. And I kind of thought it was going to just be a bit of a cash grab because Stranger Things is doing so good. I thought, well, like, it'll just be something silly. But it's actually really good. So this book here was like all about Eleven's mom and her story and the story of like that time and age. This one is set in 1969 and honestly I really enjoyed it, and the characters are all really good, and it made me think like, are we going to get introduced to any of these characters in the TV show at any point? Like, what's going on here? And also seeing people, there's only a couple that we do know from the TV show but appearing like so many years earlier was really interesting to like be able to kind of see their character development and where all of that came from as well. So yeah, really enjoyed, and I gave it 4 stars. Then next up was All Systems Red. This is part of the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, and this was amazing. I was not expecting to enjoy this as much as I did. I picked it up because honestly, again, it's one that I found in a charity shop, and I cannot believe that I found this in a charity shop. It was £1.50. So yeah, I read it and it was amazing. I'd already heard a lot about it, but I didn't think it was going to be my sort of thing because it's just small like novella style books. And also I don't think I've ever read a book about like robots before that like I've properly enjoyed. So this was really interesting and I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to pick more up. Unfortunately I am struggling to get physical copies of the rest of this, but we'll give it a go, and if not, all the audiobooks are on Scribd. But yeah, really enjoyed this and I gave it 5 stars. This is essentially the first book in this series, so we're introduced to Murderbot, and Murderbot is the perspective and like the character that we hear from, and they essentially are assigned to people to protect them, and it's all about that story. But how much did it say on the back? Yeah, so it does say this on the back, so it's not a spoiler, but the Murderbot has hacked into their own units, so they can basically like watch TV and read books and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's just all that, and this was so much better than I was expecting, so I don't want to overhype it too much, but it was really enjoyable and really good. Then next up, I started a reread, but I read these books when I was really young and I don't remember how many I actually read. I definitely read books 1 to 5 when I was younger, but I don't know if I read any further on than that. So during December I managed to read books 1 to 6, and these are the Morganville Vampire series by Rachel Caine, and these are great. I absolutely love them. I've actually since purchased the rest of the series that I didn't own. I only had up to book 9, and honestly these are so much fun, so entertaining, and I think I gave all of them between 3.5 and 4 stars. So you know, they're really good, they're entertaining. They're not, I'm just going to hold the first one up because that was getting really heavy, but yeah, they're not like super complex, at least to start with, but they're just such an engrossing story. I had so much fun with them. So Morganville Vampires, the series, is centred around Morganville, which is a town, and surprisingly there are vampires. So yeah, we follow Claire, who is a student just starting college, so like university, and she essentially isn't getting along very well, has to move into a house with 3 other people who are our other 3 like main characters, and yeah, like it's just a story and how it develops and how Claire becomes a part of this town, how the different housemates are a part, what their interactions are, and what their relationships are with all these different people. And honestly, yeah, it's an amazing series. And I'm really glad that I started rereading it because I can't wait to continue on. Then I also reread books 2 and 3 of the Disney Villains series. These are written by Serena Valentino, and I'd read these before, but when I read book 4 for the first time this year, I realised I couldn't remember that much about these. So I reread book 1 and I kind of remembered a lot more. And then when I was filling on, like, just perfectly honest, when I was filling in my reading journal for the year, I've got a series tracker, and I accidentally marked these as read in 2021 in bright purple. So I was like, I'm just gonna have to read them before the end of the year. So I did, and I enjoyed them. I'd say the earlier the book in the series, the worse it is, to be honest. Like, by the time we got to book 4, there was quite a lot of like development there, and we see so many characters. So book 2, which is The Beast Within, I gave 2 stars. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't good. And then Poor Unfortunate Soul, I gave 3 stars. There was a lot more about it and a lot more to it, but there are just things that still annoy me, and I don't know, like, it was still very, very predictable, which honestly I have no idea who these books are aimed at. Because it's Disney, I would have guessed middle grade, but like the topics and the stuff spoken about in these books, I don't think are middle grade, so I'm not really sure. But I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed it more than the second book, but it just still wasn't amazing. And then last but not least, as I said, this is going to be super quick because so many of them were part of the same series, is This Poison Heart by Kaylin Barron. I've just watched a conference and that's how they pronounce it, so hopefully that's correct. But yeah, this was so good. I'd read Cinderella is Dead, which is somewhere behind me, earlier on in the year, and gave that one 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. This one got 4 stars from me. I still really, really loved it, and it was still a lot of fun. There was some world building that wasn't quite it for me. Like, I feel like I'm being more critical of this book than the ones that I gave like lower stars to, but I think it's just that it was so close to being a higher rating that I'm like, ah, like, yeah. But I really enjoyed it and it was really good. I really like the characters, I really like the story. I think the side characters, especially the parents, I felt like could have been developed a bit more. And honestly, I found it quite predictable. I wasn't surprised by the events that unfolded towards the end. There was one thing that shocked me, but it had been hinted at. I just didn't think it was actually going to happen. But yeah, it was just a bit too predictable, and also, especially with the parent characters, I didn't feel like they were developed enough for us to like properly care about them like we did the other characters in the story. So I just kind of wish just been a couple of chapters longer and just got those things in, and maybe taken out a few of the hints as to what's happening, because honestly the hints really gave it away. There are a lot of things in it and I was like, that's being said or done for a reason. Like, this is happening with this person, why? Yeah, it was just very obvious. But I still really, really enjoyed it and cannot wait to pick up the second book in the series. It's one of my most anticipated reads of 2022. So yeah, this is This Poison Heart, and the second book in the series comes out next year. So yeah, really enjoyed it and do really recommend it. So that was all the books. This one was a bit more of a short and sweet wrap up. There wasn't that much to talk about, but I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Before I get to say it, Happy New Year. This will be my first video of the new year, and yeah, let's just hope it's a good reading year. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. Subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!